do you guys feel that drill music, trap music influences crime?
It's like a yes and no thing for me, because like I think it definitely the current culture that's not necessarily just the music, but just the culture that we're coming up in right now with social media, with like YouTube, like all the fact that it's all being broadcast alongside the music and everything. Like people can check out, like I'll be seeing videos on YouTube like the wettest drill rappers and shit like that, like people trying to bait out different artists who might say certain things on record, but like then when they get tested, like this happened. Like there's all this incentive right now for people to want to like prove themselves. If you're making drill music, like there's, because if you don't want to be on the side of being aired out for not being real or whatever, but then it's like you're encouraged also by you. If you're speaking about certain things in your music, you also have to, like, it has to be legit, or like you don't get no respect.
Yeah,
but then
carry yourself a certain way, innit? It's all about image.
Exactly, it's all about image, and like the way also with when the hear of a certain kind, it's glamorized in a certain way in the music that makes it seem like, oh, I'm a hard man now if I actually, like, me and my boys gang up on this you on the train and stomp him out. Like that's, you feel like you're a big man after doing that, because you might have heard it described on a track, but like you ain't a big man for that, because you know you're with your boys and shit. Like, but there's a whole kind of lifestyle being advertised, I guess. So I feel like it can contribute in that way, but then at the same time I do hear the whole thing about it's a reflection, because with or without the music and with or without social media, the shit was still happening, and it was always still happening. You feel me? Like, but like where there's people are deprived, like where there's poverty, there's crime. That's just facts. But like, I think it does kind of, it might ramp the process in a certain way, the social media and stuff like that. But drill, I feel like it's just a title for the current wave of music. So it's not necessarily that's the reason why things are this way. Because if drill wasn't there, there'd be a different type of music there. Like, and also like what's interesting as well actually is I heard a song quite recently, a country song, and it was talking about trapping, like a country song, like proper out town America, middle America, white boy with a cowboy hat singing the shit. And literally I clicked on it because I was like, oh, let's see what this man's talking about, because it was called like Hillbilly Goldman or something. And me and my boys were like joking, like, oh look, it sounds like he's talking about trapping here, like he's talking about he's got something buried in the yards, and he's talking about he's selling this and that. And then we're listening more, and we're like, actually this guy's actually talking about trapping, like he's talking about selling weed in the song. But when you think about country music, you're not thinking about like people, it's this negative image of like, oh, it's a drug dealer or someone who's gonna do violence. You're just thinking about, oh, this is just music. And it's the same thing, like, but whereas when someone who's making music under drill is talking about the exact same things, and they're gonna always be seen as like, you're an actual threat, you're probably actually doing this in real life, you're probably like, this is evidence for why there's like a rampant violence, is because of this music. Whereas there's other sorts of music which will talk about the same thing, but won't get the same kind of labels or shit thrown at it because of it. So it is definitely, I don't know, like it's people like to blame it as being like the sole reason, when it definitely is not. Like, because yeah, like I feel like people are always gonna, if there's something in a way that like, see like NWA and that, like there's something about young black men talking confidently about stuff which is still reality, but because of its negative, because it's to do with like gangster rap or NWA or drills talking about like violence that's like really happening, it's always gonna be seen as like a threat. people are gonna, like, the police, the London Met are taking down like drill videos, 10, 11 videos and that, and it's like they think that's actually doing something to decrease crime, when all they're really doing is taking away someone's outlet to actually, like, say your music, Jermaine, like you're talking about things in the past, but it's an outlet to release that energy now, so that you're not actually continuing the cycle. But if you don't have that release, then you literally, what else are you gonna do to make
real talk
bread, like? And also, like, now you're actually the artists that are out now, like they're established artists. People know them, like, so you can't really go back to just doing a regular job after that, because like now you're always gonna be seen like you're that drill rapper, innit? Like, exactly. So you can either do two things, drill or rap, and they've taken away the rapping ability. They've taken, and also now you're on the radar of the feds, because they're already on your YouTube videos, so you can't really make no money in that either. So it's like, yeah, they're literally, it's like their intention is to push you back into the system.
That is what it is, isn't it? That's what the system is about, though, for real.
Yeah, man, it's meant to be it's a pipeline, a whole shit pipeline. But like, I mean, I think people are literally getting, like I said, like telling the stories of their lives and stuff. Like, same thing when I was talking about NWA. It's a way of just like talking about your story, but also making it, like, putting some sauce on that as well. Like, we see, like, but because of, I think that's what makes it seem like a threat to people, because you're in a YouTube video, you're looking all cool, you're looking fresh and that, and then and now they want to say you're glorifying, they want to say that you're making it glamorous to
for
people.
Example,
for the kids.
You know, was it Sterling? You know when he had that tattoo of just the gun in it. They start saying, you're gang related.
They want to make anything that's like can be construed in that sort of way. They'll take it in that direction. Like they'll pin it on that. Like, oh, you got that tattoo for that, or you're in this video. We saw you in the back of this video dancing. Like, or like, just because that can be associated with some kind of like negativity or like, because there's this a lot of people are talking about this London crime right now. It's like a hot topic. Like, people are searching for something to blame it on, and because of it's something that it's always seen as a black thing. Like, oh, the black people are killing each other. These youths are killing these youths. Like, when they see a group of black kids talking about this or something, and it doesn't even have to be just all black kids, there's Asian kids, there's white kids in it, but they're always going to see the black is the most visible for people. Like, that's why it's always going to be the most attention zeroed in on that, is because like what my boss was saying about this cowboy and the all black and that, like the ballys and everything, that's, people just see that and they just think, oh, these are some black gangsters right here, like, and they're actually doing what they because they've heard all this and that on the news. They're like, this is them then, this must be them who's doing it, like, this is the cause of it. But like, everyone wants to point fingers and everyone wants to just like have a simple answer to why something is the way it is, but like, it's like you really are just addressing symptoms of a bigger problem, because you can't just, it's not like, see whack-a-mole, see where you put one down, 10 more pop up. Like, it's because you're just suppressing one thing, but like with the videos, you're suppressing down them, you're not letting them release that energy, but like, the energy's still there, so it's like, that it's gonna get out either way. Yeah, and now it's gonna get out the wrong way. Now it's gonna get out the way that man are it's actually illegal. Like, when it's, before it was something that's still legal, all you're doing is making a video, all you're doing is saying words, you're meant to have freedom of speech and that, but like...
No, but you know what it is, I'll say there's like two types of drill artists. Like, there's the drill artists, say like 6, 7, that they've done whatever, but You see, like they're doing it to get to get themselves out of where they are, innit? Then there's other drill artists now, which you can say, you can say that they are kind of the reason why crime's going up, because you know what I'm saying, like
no, that's what I was gonna say, like about it's a yes and no question to why if drill is contributing more to the rise in crime, because like I don't think it's drill specifically, because drill is just a genre of music, and lots of men are working in the genre, like some are just telling stories of their life, which are just like true stories, but it's a way of just like releasing that energy. Because like say when I'm writing music, it's all about getting thoughts and feelings and stories about like experiences that have happened, shit that's happened to do with me and the people I'm around, like that. It's just a way of getting that energy out and telling a real ass story. And like my whole thing with music is like your strength is your unique perspective and how you bring your own experience onto the track. So it's like some people's experience, their life experience was involved violence and all this thing that people say like is negative, and that's the reason why like this is happening or that is happening. But literally it's true life stories put into art, and that's and it's for those man who that's their way of like not involving themselves in that life anymore. Like they're just making art out of it instead of actually doing it. But then there are certain men who are making music who like they'll know certain information about how something happened to someone else, and they'll talk about it in their music, and then the person who's like the crew, the crew of people on the other side who they're talking about their someone who got like something happened to them. They're now talking. Now there's a track. It's basically insulting their dead friend. So now they're thinking, what we got? We have to do something because they're disrespecting the memory of our guy. So that whole side of the music where people are actually bragging about like real shit that like real like damn it, but like they're bigging themselves up, and it turns into a competition between who's doing the most dirt on the other team or whatever, like, and that I think that definitely does incentivize an increase in kind of action, because people want to do like you can't just be seen as doing nothing, because that's like you're now disrespecting your friends. So it's a really tricky one there, but like, and it's really hard to know how to stop that as well, because it's like men are gonna do what they do, innit? And like it's like basically if people stop doing that, it's like one side is like, okay, we're gonna be the bigger people and be like, yo, we can't keep perpetuating a cycle of violence. But then it's like at the same time, people always are gonna wanna big up their ego and boost up their ego. So if one side ain't doing it, then it's like opening up for the other side to be like, okay, well fuck you guys like then. Like we're gonna like disrespect your whole team, disrespect your whole set, and like what are you gonna do? Now you guys are pussies because you can make it look like you're. Now it's like one side are like really trying to not. If you stop trying to perpetuate the cycle, then it's still. You're still going to be looked at a certain way, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're still going to be seen as like, okay, you're not as bad as us, basically. But like, yeah, and it's just hard because I feel like males, there's a lot of like masculinity competitions going on between people, and like, it's like if you don't want to be the little man, basically, and like, you kind of have to just leave. It's basically if people are prepared to leave their egos or like not like subscribe or always go by that way of thinking that you have to be the hardest in the room, or if someone else is harder than you or making you look like a pussy, like then you're like not worthy of respect. Basically, because everyone subscribes to that view subconsciously or consciously. it's hard to stop that cycle, because like that ultimately I feel like that's a lot of what it goes back to. A lot of beefs I hear about and stuff that involve like people I'm close to have always started over like girls and shit, and it's always just like something where one person feels like their masculinity or their respect is being taken away in some sort of way because of someone is getting some sort of one up on them. You know what I mean? That's why either it's a girl or someone flashed their weapon at you and made you feel powerless. Someone had a gun. It's like, man, I need a gun now because these men have got guns. Like, or it's like, yeah, like I feel like for example, some like people at this basketball court, like down the road, they were bringing out guns and shit because basically one of them found out that another one had slept with his sister, and now it's like he obviously you're gonna have that protectiveness of being the bigger brother. You want to have been protective of your sister, but then this man is like threatening, but then it's like, oh, you want to threaten me now? I gotta show what I got as well, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't properly finish the sentences, you feel me? But like, you get what kind of idea I'm coming at. Yeah, man. It's just a madness, like, because everyone just wants to have the respect, you know, have the credit, the street credit and that. But like, I feel like it's at the detriment almost of the wider community, and it's like, are you going to be more for your community or are you going to be more for yourself? And most people are more for themselves, sadly. Like, most people are ultimately going to do what makes them like kind of feel the best, and that's what mostly comes back to. Like, you don't want to feel like you're a dickhead out here. And yeah, it's a lot of like what we were talking about before, like people want to test you.
Yeah, that's what it
is. You want to size you.
See who's what.
Yeah.
What you're about.
Exactly. And some people, like, for me, when that sort of thing happens, like, I know that it's like people are gonna go to whatever length they can, and I don't know what. When say someone's like eyeing you or something on road, like, you don't really know what that guy's about. You don't know what he's got, and like, for me, some man might call me a pussy or whatever, but I'm not gonna really entertain or try and like test that, innit? Because to me it's not worth it whatsoever. But like, especially if it's any next man, like someone I've never met before in my life, never seen before in my life, like, what's the point in even like getting kind of into any kind of altercation or inviting any sort of like any kind of that energy towards yourself? Because it's like that, it starts a lot of the time with a look. A lot of the time, like, I've been so many times in like chicken shops and shit, like, it's like late at night, you can tell man's drunk or something, like, people looking at you, waiting for you to return that look and see how you're going to return that look, and based on how you return the look is how they're going to now approach you. And now they're coming at you like, what's the problem, what's this, what's that? And like, now it's like you can take it a few different ways, and like, some people actually just go out to fight. Some people go out because they're trying to find that energy. And like me, like, I'm not really the sort of person to just get into that with anyone. And like, I think like, if you're actually gonna disrespect me or gonna disrespect my friends, like, it's a different thing. But if I can see that you're literally out here just to try and find that energy, try and find someone who's gonna like start throwing with you, like, then yeah, like, it's to me it's not worth it. But to be honest, like I just said, like, if you're disrespecting me or you're disrespecting my friends, like, that's what it comes down to a lot of people. Like, that's enough to actually start throwing with someone who you've never met before. And because of that, because it all kind of traces back to the disrespect thing, like, I feel like it's almost something that's always going to be there. It's probably in the animal kingdom, like, with primates and everything, like, they live in societies and shit, and like, they're all posturing themselves and shit, trying to like be the biggest man to get the, you know, to mate with the, and I feel like it all kind of roots almost back to animal instincts, a lot of this stuff. So that's why I feel like it's hard to just say that it's going to go away, but that's also why I can say that it's definitely not because of drill music, because like it's literally, it's nature, it's in the nature of anyone, like any animal, because that's just how we wire, how we work. Like we want to be like the strongest, the alpha in the pack, and like, you know, it's literally what everyone kind of wants in terms of just what they're hardwired to be like. But you don't need to go to the extreme lengths, obviously, that it's at. And like, yeah, it's a hard one, really. It's hard to know what the actual shit is for that. You know what I mean? Because would you agree? Like, it's kind of, it's natural, innit? Like,
no, I just think it's to do with the environment, though. Yeah, because obviously, like, you can be socially like one side, okay, cool. It could be a rough side, but because that's because the area could be like war, like could have poverty, that area. But if you go to another area which is similar, but say that area is still, like, say for example, it's like black people, like full. You got black people living in one area which is like rare, like bare, like no, it's like everybody's in poverty, then like no one's got that much money. But then you go to another black area where you see boy, it's like actually done up, or let's say there might be more white people there, but you see black people there. But the difference is like it's just a different environment. Maybe if you take the people out of the environment, they'll act a certain way because of where they're from, innit? Yeah. But then after a while, it's all the adaptation. They don't know, they ain't got this, they ain't got that. So when they see someone else got this, that, then also that's when they're thinking like, oh, let me just take it. I mean, that's just
because it's like if you're in somewhere which is deprived, like you're deprived, your area is deprived, everyone around you doesn't have to,
gonna
like,
be low all the time.
It's more, it's like, if not, like, you know that not, like, pretty much everyone around you's got a small amount almost. It's like, why can't I you might as well try and like rob, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, you see them, anyone who's got enough to actually rob has got more than me, so why don't I just,
And then that goes back to the music, because obviously some of these drill rappers now, they've only just started making music. The whole time, they've been doing this stuff for the longest. Like Heady One, all them people, they've only just started coming up making music now. But for time, they might have been spending time in and out of jail, other artists the same way. So now, you can't really claim it as, okay, jail music is the reason why.
Exactly, because they were doing it before drill.
But it's just now, because things are going up now, and obviously social media, and everyone's doing stuff on social media. Now what they want to do is have that little category where they can claim, okay, boom.
Yeah, and I think the thing I would put it more on in terms of like something from now, because even like drill is like a new thing pretty much if you think about it. But like if it's something new that's kind of increasing it, it's everyone's kind of desire on social media to flex, if I'm honest. Because that's what everyone's doing on social media, and in different ways, and for different reasons, I feel like. So, but at the end of the day, everyone's just trying to flex, and I feel like that's social media's problem. Exactly. Everyone's got followers, everyone's got likes. You can see who's getting the most. It's like a scoreboard, fam. That's what it is. Yeah, who's got the most clout? And then with drill, like when you put in your music, it's like who's got the who's saying the most, who's doing the most crud,
who's putting in the most work.
To put it, like who's on the most shit, like basically. And that's your way, and YouTube and putting your video up is a way of doing that. Like,
that's it. This is the platform. It's giving people a platform, but still. People now like, what is people have managed to see that okay, they can make an income out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And so look, Jermaine, see you were talking about before about making a platform for man. That's why this platform is needed, because of like otherwise the only platform is the whole social media shit. Exactly. That's basically young black men in London's platform is social media, Instagram, YouTube. That's all we got. I don't think drill specifically as a genre of music like is actually the influence on the increase in violence in London, just because like drill is too new of a genre. The music about this type of thing has been around for way longer than this genre itself. The man who like are making music in the genre have been doing like in and out of jail, like he was saying, like since before that and everything like that. But I think that literally, I think the social media is literally being the only platform for young people in the city to actually, I guess, get some self-worth, I guess, and get some, that what feels like respect to your peers, but even though it's, to be honest, it's mad fleeting, it goes away like after the next incident, after the next man tries to get his one up on you. But like, basically, we were just saying like that because of there's a platform, because social media is the only platform that people have, and it encourages you to like basically kind of show that you're better and you're bigger than the next man through your like who's got the most followers, who's got the most likes. If you're talking the most shit in your music, and then you can prove that you've actually done this shit, that's gonna get you the most self-respect among people on the scene and everything. It's gonna get the most views. People are gonna all be going to the video because they want to see what you're talking about, who you're talking about, all of that shit. Basically, through the internet and everything, like being the one way that everyone looks at everything. Everyone can see shit for themselves, I guess. People can fact check and prove like, are you really doing what you're talking about? Like that whole system basically incentivizes people to kind of gain their respect, gain their clout among their peers through talking the most shit, showing that you're on shit. Like, and yeah, like I feel like that's the main reason for this spike right now. But yeah, that's my opinion. What is yours?